What is going on, draft nerds? Welcome back to the Draft Hub. Today, we are going to be going through my 2026 NFL mock draft after week 13 of the NFL season. Now, this is one day later than I usually upload it. The College Football Conference Championship game predictions video took a little bit of precedent over this week's mock draft, but we are right on schedule again here on a Tuesday upload. This is before the Monday Night Football game, before the New York Giants and the New England Patriots. So the order could be a little bit different by the time that you are watching this, but we are going to be doing this with trades. I actually have a very funky idea here for the most part. I think a lot of quarterback needy teams have made their way towards the top 10. So I think we're going to take full advantage of that in this mock draft. But before we get into that, if you are new here today, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. The support has been unbelievable since about October. We have tripled the growth of this channel in just really like 6 weeks, to be honest with you. And it's all thanks to you guys and your continued support. I can't thank you enough. Now, let's get into this mock draft here. So we have the Tennessee Titans at number 1 overall. And I don't think there's a scenario so far this year where I've actually traded out of the number 1 spot for Tennessee, just because I've been saying that I don't think that the number 1 overall pick is kind of worth trading for this year. But in this scenario, I think it's a little bit different. So you have the Tennessee Titans at number 1 overall. I've been picking either Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain Jr. at that spot, and I love both of those picks, especially for the Titans. But I feel like selecting a defensive end or a linebacker at number 1 overall is so far out of the realm of what we see really inside the top 5 of the NFL draft. It's a quarterback driven league. That's the name of the game. Quarterback is the most overdrafted position in any sport that holds a draft, to be honest with you. It is the most important position in North American sports, in my humble opinion. So you have the Las Vegas Raiders here that are sitting at number 4. Now you have the Titans, who are not in the market for a quarterback. You have the Giants, who are not in the market for a quarterback. The Saints could very well take a quarterback at number 2 overall. Then right behind them, you have 3 teams that are very quarterback needy. You have the Cleveland Browns, you have the New York Jets, and then you have the Arizona Cardinals, who are going to be most likely in the market for a quarterback this year. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm making that jump to the number 1 overall pick, because what good does it do me if I move up one? I might as well just stay put. There's no other spot that's worth trading up for right now. I am going to jump the New Orleans Saints, and I'm going to have my pick of the litter. And it just so happens that they want to trade here. So I think it's going to be a little bit costly. I mean, as we know, that's how it goes with the draft now. So I think a 3rd and a 5th rounder plus a 1st rounder next year would be able to get the job done, because the Tennessee Titans are only moving back 3 spots. I think that this is a trade that will absolutely be in that. I mean, you could probably add like a 3rd or a 4th round pick next year, but we're really splitting hairs at that point. The Las Vegas Raiders move up to number 1. And with that number 1 overall pick, I'm going to take Dante Moore. So in weeks prior, I have said that I think Dante Moore is going back to Oregon, and he's been out of my mock drafts for a good while now. But let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say Dante Moore, because I think personally he absolutely should declare for the 2026 draft class, because I truly feel like it's Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, and then a whole lot of, late day 2, early day 3 picks. That is also if Darian Mensah decides to not come out as well. So really, you're sticking at Oregon for another year. I get that you're going to make a decent amount of money playing, but you're going into a significantly better draft class next year for the quarterback position. Why not have the chance to be the number 1 overall pick? I think Dante Moore, at the end of the day, I think it's like 70-30 that he goes back to Oregon. There is that, that could be that team that picks towards the top, and they'll be like, listen, we will go up and we will get you. And if I have the chance to be the number 1 overall pick, I'm going to do it. So I think Dante Moore actually has overall athletically and just playing the quarterback position, I think he has the highest ceiling of any potential quarterback in this 2026 draft class. I think we haven't even scratched the surface of what that man could accomplish at the quarterback position. And the Raiders are in desperate need of a quarterback. I mean, Geno Smith obviously was a short-term answer to begin with, but he's been a little bit more short-term than I think the Raiders initially thought he was going to be. So we get Dante Moore here to pair him with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, and that's a nice little trio going forward of young players. So at number two overall, listen, I know that I've said in previous weeks I'm willing to give Tyler Shuck the chance to really play the entire season and be that guy going forward. I don't know, man. Against Miami, I didn't see an NFL franchise quarterback. And to be quite honest with you, I think Spencer Rattler was way more impressive than Tyler Shuck. And they obviously have basically moved on from Spencer Rattler at this point. I don't think that really there's anything stopping them from taking a quarterback here, especially if Fernando Mendoza is on the board at number two. I do think that this is a quarterback that Kellen Moore would really like to sink his teeth into. This is probably going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. He's a player that athletically has enough. He's a good enough athlete. He's not going to be a running type of quarterback. He's going to be more of a pocket passer, but he's going to be a way more athletic version of what Tyler Shuck is, and a way more accurate version of him. A lot of people have questions about his arm strength long term. I don't really see that. I think Fernando Mendoza can make every single throw that is necessary on an NFL field, and he's just got that winning mentality too. I really like what Fernando Mendoza can bring to the table, and I like pairing him with a young offensive-minded head coach like a Kellen Moore, and I think that he would fit in this offense in a fantastic way. So moving on to number three, this is another spot here. You have the Giants at number three currently, well, at the time of recording. And with two quarterbacks off the board in the first two picks, that leaves really Ty Simpson as your only other quarterback that's probably going to be a first round pick. Now you have three quarterback needy teams. I'll be quite honest with you, as a Jets fan, I don't think the Jets part ways with draft capital to move up to get a Ty Simpson. I think they move up to get someone like Fernando Mendoza. But since the New Orleans Saints are hell bent on picking him at number two, that kind of leaves the Jets up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I don't think Ty Simpson fits very well in Cleveland. I think the only offense that he kind of fits decently well in, or well enough in where they'd make a move up to take him, is going to be Arizona. I think they're going to be hungry for a quarterback. I think Ty Simpson has phenomenal NFL traits, the ball placement, the ability to move around in the pocket. He is someone that is so green at the quarterback position as well, that I just think that under the right tutelage, he's going to be a player that's going to be a multiple time Pro Bowler at the quarterback position. Now, that's really high praise, but all the intangibles are there. A lot of people have, a problem with, he doesn't have that many starts under his name and ba 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 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't really have any of that, any of those notions. I think that he's going to, what intangibles are intangibles. Once you see them, you see them. And we've seen them with Ty Simpson. So I'm going to make this trade up. It's going to be a first, it's going to be a third, and it's going to be a first next year and a fifth next year for the number three overall pick. It's a hefty price, but it's a price that the Arizona Cardinals front office is going to pay to get their potential franchise quarterback and being able to move on from Kyler Murray as well. So they're going to take Ty Simpson here at number three. And then we're going to move on to the Tennessee Titans. And man, oh man, how lucky are the Tennessee Titans that they moved down from number one overall, and they're still going to get the player at number four that they were going to get with the number one overall pick. I'm going to take Arvell Reese. I think Arvell Reese is the best overall player in the draft class, and he feels a massive need for the Tennessee Titans as a pass rusher, as an overall linebacker, as just a general athlete in the middle of the field. This guy is really second to nobody in the class, maybe to a Caleb Downs. He's close with Sonny Styles as well. Just all those Ohio State boys are unbelievable. But yeah, Arvell Reese just makes a lot of sense to me here. He just fills way more than one area of need for the Tennessee Titans, and he's going to be your quarterback on defense. He's going to be your ultimate playmaker. And then at five, you have the Cleveland Browns, and don't fret if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, because yeah, you did miss out on a potential quarterback, but in my comment section, a lot of Cleveland Brown fans don't want to draft a quarterback this year. A lot of Cleveland Browns fans want to see what comes of Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders, and I kind of don't blame them because, hey, if it doesn't work out with those two guys, you still have an elite defense. You have 2 first-round picks this year, and then, if you're bad in 2026, the 2027 class is kind of quarterback rich. So I don't hate that notion. Build the team around the potential quarterback. So I'm going to take Jordan Tyson here. I think it make no mistake about it, the Cleveland Browns desperately need some wide receiver upgrades. Jerry Jeudy obviously looks like he does not want to be there. Harold Fannin Jr. is really kind of sort of the lone bright spot in, as a receiver, and he's a tight end. So really, you need a massive overhaul of the wide receiver position. This was tough between Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. I just think Tyson has a bit more explosiveness, and I think he has that more of that home run type. He's more of that home run type of playmaker, whereas Carnell Tate is just an unbelievable player in his own right. But yeah, I'm going to take Jordan Tyson here to start to be the automatic wide receiver one for the Cleveland Browns. At 6, this is tough. You could take Ruben Bain Jr. here. You could take Carnell Tate. I'm going to take Ruben Bain Jr. because this is a position that I think the Washington Commanders haven't been in yet this year, where they are up high enough and the draft board has fallen to the point where they're able to take quite possibly the best edge rusher in the entire class. And it fills a massive need long term for the Washington Commanders. I think it makes a lot of sense and it's a perfect fit. A lot of people have some draft fatigue on Ruben Bain Jr. Make no mistake about it. This guy is one of the best overall prospects in the entire draft class, offensive or defensive. So, yeah, give me Ruben Bain Jr. at number 6. That's pretty straightforward, in my opinion. At 7, you have my New York Jets. Again, they are a team that did miss out on the quarterback sweepstakes, but they have 3 first-round picks next year. They have 2 first-round picks this year. They have 2 second-round picks this year. I think they'll be all right. If they want to make a move for an established veteran quarterback, I think that that's what they're going to do. Be that as it may, pardon me, I love what Adonai Mitchell has brought to the wide receiving core for the New York Jets. I love Garrett Wilson. I think John Mechie is a fine depth option. I'm still going to take a wide receiver here. Reason being is I want to load up my offense for whatever quarterback is going to be under center here. And I just think Carnell Tate just makes too much sense for this. He's the perfect contrast to this Jets wide receiving core, where you have Garrett Wilson, who's more of a wiry receiver that's going to win with natural separation and his overall quickness and route running ability. Adonai Mitchell is a big body receiver at 6'2", 205 pounds, but he doesn't play like a big body receiver. He is that guy that is going to, win with his speed, natural separation over the middle. He had a fabulous game against the Atlanta Falcons. And Carnell Tate is going to be that possession-based wide receiver that can win contested catches down the field. He has a natural ability to separate as well. You pair that with hopefully a extended Breece Hall and a Mason Taylor, and you have a really, really nice young offense with your oldest player being a Garrett Wilson, who's 24 or 25 years old at a skill position. That's a proposition that I'm not willing to pass up here at number 7. I'm taking Carnell Tate. And that kind of sucks for the New York Giants because they move back and they kind of wanted a wide receiver here, but they get Caleb Downs here at number 8. This is a massive need for the New York Giants, a upgrade in the secondary. Caleb Downs is a quarterback of the defense type of player where you can move him around. He's a chess piece that any defensive coordinator would absolutely love to have on their defense, and he's a massive upgrade on whatever they have here. And the Giants are building. I know that they probably need more help out on the boundary than they do up the middle at the safety position. But Downs is a player that has experience all over the defense. He is a Kyle Hamilton type of player that I think if you have the opportunity to draft him and it is somewhat of a need in the secondary, I think you just go out and you get him. So we're going to get Caleb Downs here at number 8. At 9, you have the LA Rams, and I'm going to take Spencer Fano here. I think long term, this was tough between Mansour Delaney and Spencer Fano, but I think Fano is the best overall offensive tackle prospect in this draft class. He does come with a lot of experience on either side of the line. Rob Havenstein is a player that is out of contract after this year, also 34 years old, and could definitely be improved upon. And you're playing with house money, the Atlanta Falcons, that you have the Atlanta Falcons pick here at number 9. Why not get your right tackle of the future with a pick that's not even yours, and you continue to cement that legitimate offensive line? At 10, I just mentioned him. I'm going to take him here. This is tough because I think the Bengals do need offensive line help. Joe Burrow looked really good in his return, to be honest. He did throw the ball a ton, but he didn't turn the ball over, and he played very, very well. And the defense for the Bengals really showed up against the Baltimore Ravens. That didn't look like the worst overall defense in the league, if you ask me. So why not build on something like that? I want to go edge really bad here, but I'm going to have to address the secondary, especially with Mansour Delaney still on the board. I just spoke about him. I think he's the best overall corner in this draft class. And if I can get him here at number 10, there are quite a bit of free agents for the Cincinnati Bengals in that defensive secondary. I don't think that they're going to be able to pay everyone. And I think Mansour Delaney is a natural replacement as that cornerback 1 in this defense. So give me Delaney here at number 10. At 11, this is a pick that I make basically week in and week out. I just think that the Minnesota Vikings need to. I mean, this is a lost season for the Minnesota Vikings. Max Brosmer put up, an all-time horrendous stat line versus the Seattle Seahawks away from home. I mean, I didn't really expect him to light it up, but I didn't expect him to play as bad as he did. I think they need balance in this offense, and I think Jeremiah Love is a player that Kevin O'Connell would absolutely love to have on his offense. So give me Kevin O'Connell. He's already on the Minnesota Vikings. Give me Jeremiah Love here to be that running back of the future. I believe Jordan Mason is under contract next year, and Aaron Jones is out of contract after this year. But those are two players that easily can be improved upon. And Jeremiah Love just brings that X factor and that balance that this offense is really, really lacking this year. At number 12, you have the Miami Dolphins here. Give me Makai Lemon. Really, you could kind of do anything for the Miami Dolphins here at number 12, and it would be pretty good. The Dolphins defense has been playing very good, and it's because they've been playing very bad opponents. But be that as it may, I do think the secondary needs to be improved upon very early on in the draft. But with Makai Lemon here and wide receivers basically flying off the board, I'm not going to give up the opportunity to pair Jalen Waddle with Makai Lemon and, with Devon Achane as well, with Darren Waller if he plays past this year. A lot of things could be upgraded on this Miami team. The offensive line, the defensive line, the edge rushers, everything could basically be upgraded upon. So just kind of take your pick. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking Makai Lemon to upstart the new regime. Because essentially, I believe Tyreek Hill is going to be as good as gone after this year. So give me Makai Lemon here at number 12. At 13, unfamiliar territory for this Kansas City Chiefs team under Patrick Mahomes. They are 6-6 right now, coming off of a Thanksgiving loss to the Dallas Cowboys, which was actually kind of surprising if you ask me. But they have a high draft pick, and they could really use it to their advantage. Jermod McCoy, here's the thing. With Jeremiah Love off the board, I think you have to pivot, obviously. I do think the run game definitely needs to be improved upon. That kind of goes without saying. Maybe the second or the third round, you can get someone like an Emmett Johnson, something like that. That could be your bell cow. Here, I think you need to upgrade the secondary because there are quite a bit of free agents. Jalen Watson is a free agent. Joshua Williams is a free agent. And just based off of that, with Trent McDuffie playing in the slot and having Shamari Connor out wide, this is an offense. This is a defense that definitely needs an upgrade on the boundary because of just the upgrade of the offenses in the division. I think this defense has been kind of exposed this year. So, the Dallas game was truly eye opening, with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb kind of running whatever they wanted to all over the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me Jermod McCoy here he comes with the injury risk, absolutely, but the Kansas City Chiefs are willing to take that risk to get a potential top 5 talent in this draft class, number 13. At 14, and truly, this is me being transparent from the opposite side of the screen, I had a very difficult time deciding where I wanted to go with this pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I settled on something that's probably not going to be popular, and I really don't care. If you look at the depth chart for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you look at the play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the offensive line has been very disappointing this year. Broderick Jones obviously has kind of been a bust as the 14th overall pick a few years ago. Troy Fautanu has been good on the right side. I think an upgrade at the left tackle position desperately there's no quarterback at 14 that I'm willing to take. We're looking at the second, third, fourth round for quarterbacks, or Will Howard gets a chance to start, or they bring in a veteran. But I think the offensive line needs to be improved upon, and really the best natural left tackle that's on the board at this point, in my opinion, is Caden Proctor. 6'7", 363 pounds. The guy has performed very well against very difficult teams this year. He is one of the few players. There aren't many players that have improved their draft stock more this college football season than Caden Proctor, and I think that he would fit in on this offensive line perfectly for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can say what you will about my pick here, but I think the pick absolutely makes sense. And why would you argue getting a potential franchise left tackle for whoever is under center? I'm not going to force a quarterback in the first round at number 14 overall just for the sake of drafting one. They could go wide receiver here. I think 14 is a little too rich for Denzel Boston. Same thing with Kevin Concepcion. There are plenty of wide receivers that they can take in the second round, like a Jeremy Bernard, Omar Cooper, Elijah Surratt, guys like that. that can go in the second round. Chris Brazzell, the third, second, guys like that. So give me Caden Proctor here at number 14. At 15, you have the Carolina Panthers. What an interesting season it's been for the Panthers here, exceeding expectations and falling below expectations at the same time. I don't know what to make of Bryce Young still at this point. He's putting together a very solid season, but very inconsistent. If you're a box score watcher, you're thinking, oh, Bryce Young is finally turning it around, and he's having a very good season. And he's having a good season, but it's very inconsistent. So, he had a great performance this past week against the Rams. So, whoever they play next week, that he's due for a stinker. That's just the way that he's been playing this year. No shame to him, but that's just it. That's how it's been going. But I need to improve the pass rush. And Keldrick Falk, I think, has all the elite tools to be a great pass rusher at the NFL level. Hasn't put it really all together. He's a great run defender. He pressures the quarterback a lot. He just can't really finish. And I think he needs to get better as an overall pass rusher. But the tools are there, 6'6", 285 pounds, a phenomenal overall athlete. I think the Carolina Panthers are willing to spend the 15th overall pick on a player of his potential. At 16, you have the Dallas Cowboys here. And I'm going to upgrade the defense. I think that's what still needs to be upgraded at this point. And I know there's David Bailey on the board, and a lot of people are going to be crying for David Bailey, and I understand that. But there's a player on the board that I like so much that I'm going to bypass all that, and I'm going to take him. That's going to be Sonny Styles. I've made this pick before. I think Sonny Styles is your jack of all trades linebacker that we know Jerry Jones loves on his Dallas Cowboys team. And I think that if it wasn't for Arvell Reese, I think Sonny Styles would probably, be even more in the consideration to be a top 10 pick when it's all said and done. Give me Sonny Styles here at number 16 to be the new quarterback of that defense. At 17, the Detroit Lions can't believe that they fell into David Bailey. There are a couple of corners that I would suggest taking here. Avion Terrell, Colton Hood as well are two players that I would consider taking here. But I truly do think adding David Bailey to the other side of Aiden Hutchinson is a prospect that I'm really not willing to part ways with. David Bailey, probably the best edge rusher in college football this year. He's had a phenomenal season for the Red Raiders. The Red Raiders themselves have had a phenomenal season. Give me David Bailey here at number 17. At 18, this is a pretty easy pick here with the players that are on the board. The offensive line needs to be upgraded for the Houston Texans. Give me Francis Mauigoa here, the best natural right tackle left on the board, the best offensive lineman, period, on the board. And he comes with a lot of versatility. He could kick inside and play guard as well. He comes with a lot of versatility where this pick would look good. And I think Francis Mauigoa is probably the best run blocking tackle in the class, right tackle in the class. He's a mauler in the run game, and I think that athleticism is definitely needed on this Houston Texans offensive line. At 19, the Baltimore Ravens can't believe Peter Woods has fallen this far. And I can't really either. It's just the way that the board has fallen to where I don't really think a lot of these teams need a defensive tackle. And I don't think that a defensive tackle, even of Peter Woods' caliber, is kind of worth trading up for. So Baltimore, as years prior, we've seen they kind of fall ass backwards into a really, really solid pick. Peter Woods fills a massive need on that defensive line. They need someone that could be as disruptive as he is. A lot of people think he's disappointing. I disagree. I think his motor runs very, very high. He's extremely violent in the frame of the offensive lineman. He's disruptive. He can rush the quarterback as well. He's a great run defender. I think this is a really nice pick for the Baltimore Ravens here at number 19. At 20, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think it's no secret that the Buccaneers offense is kind of struggling with all the injuries, even with Godwin coming back. Emeka Egbuka has slowed down. Bucky Irving just came back from injury. He looked okay in the game against the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's no secret that another weapon is needed on this offense. And now a lot of people who scratch their head at the Emeka Egbuka pick are kind of like, wow, thank God that they did take Emeka Egbuka, because if they didn't, who knows how good they would have been at the beginning of the season. But here, give me Kenyan Sadiq, the only tight end that I think is worth a first-round pick. And this is someone, even though he is a good blocker, an athletic blocker, a good run blocker overall, this is someone that you're going to draft to catch passes. He's incredibly athletic, really strong at the catch point. just a really good receiver overall. Again, another one of those players that has really developed his draft stock over this year, tenfold more than a lot of other players. So give me Kenyon Sadiq here, especially Cade Otton and Ko Keefe. They're both free agents as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think Cade Otton is a player that's worth paying probably 9, 10+ million for. So give me Kenyon Sadiq here at number 20 overall. At 21, you have the Buffalo Bills. And same pick as last week for me, to be quite honest with you. It is going to be Denzel Boston. I think this is the wide receiver that Josh Allen has been craving. Joshua Palmer has basically been a non-factor after signing a 3-year contract. Tyrell Shavers has been a nice little surprise. Khalil Shakir has kind of been a letdown, honestly, for me this year. And Keon Coleman has been okay when he plays, but another wide receiver on the boundary is needed. Denzel Boston is a monster, 6'4", 209 pounds, but he's not a possession-based receiver like a Keon Coleman. He is someone that absolutely can run right past the secondary. He's someone that wins contested catches at a fantastic rate, and he does not drop the ball. 1.7 drop rate this past season for the Washington Huskies here. So give me Denzel Boston at 21. At 22, this is a pick I make quite a bit. I don't know what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles in the last few weeks, but it's weird. But give me Avion Terrell here for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I just think that an upgrade in the secondary is needed. I'm tired of watching Adoree Jackson for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a player that kind of should have been out of the NFL, in my opinion, like last year or 2 years ago. Give me Avion Terrell. He's a player that comes with that outside-inside versatility. He plays both positions very, very well, and he fits that Vic Fangio defense quite well. As well. So give me Avion Terrell at number 22. At 23, you have my New York Jets with their second first round pick this year. Going to go a little bit unconventional here. Give me Ola Owane here out of Penn State. Best interior offensive lineman in the draft class. So the reasoning for my pick here, a lot of people are going to go, oh, you didn't draft a corner, or you didn't draft a safety or a defensive tackle. Yeah, okay, we still have 2 top 40 picks to worry about with that. And I'm taking Owane for 2 reasons. One, because this is a incredibly thin interior offensive line class, but he is a player that is absolutely worth a first-round pick. Elijah Vera-Tucker is a free agent and completely injury-riddled. I think he's as good as gone. He has no ties to this regime, and as good as he is when he's healthy, he's rarely healthy. On the other side, John Simpson is also a free agent. I think one of the two come back. A lot of people say that Joe Tippmann is being primed to be the new right guard for the New York Jets, but I'm still sticking him at center. He's just one of the most athletic centers in the NFL when he is playing center. So I'm sticking him back there. I'm probably going to re-sign John Simpson because he's been so solid over his career with the Jets over the past 3 years. And then I'm taking Ola Owane here just to solidify that offensive line further. I know 3 first-round picks spent in the last 3 years on offensive line is kind of crazy, but I'm really trying to build an offense here because the offense for the Jets is so anemic. It's been so anemic last year with the players that they had, I still think it was a little bit anemic, but this offensive line will absolutely be complete after this because you have to worry about losing 2 guards. And then what do you do? Because after really Ola Owane and Emmanuel Pregnon, what are you looking at the guard position up until about day 3? So that's a scary proposition that I'm not kind of willing to be complacent with. I am going out there and I'm taking a guard here in this first round because I think it's absolutely necessary. And I don't really care what you think about that. I think it's absolutely necessary. At 24, you have the San Francisco 49ers here. Another pick that I think is a little interesting that I haven't made before. Give me KC Concepcion here at number 24. The Brandon Ayuk, his future is, he's basically as good as gone at this point from the San Francisco 49ers. Jawan Jennings, injured, but also having a little bit of a disappointing season. Ricky Pearsall, between flip-flopping, getting injured, getting shot, and just, not really being a factor on the field, I think that's a player that is probably a bust of a first-round pick. I think this offense, George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey cannot do it all by themselves, and somehow they are getting away with it up until this point. But when they finish with a good record and they play a better schedule next year, they're going to need a player as dynamic as KC Concepcion. So give me him here at number 24 for the San Francisco 49ers. At number 25, you have the Los Angeles Chargers here. Give me Emmanuel Pregnon. I usually go with Ola Owane at this pick, but he is gone. You can go 2 different ways. You can take Caden McDonald. The interior of the defensive line needs a little bit of help as well, to be quite honest with you, for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Caden McDonald will bring that size and toughness that Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter like. Christian Miller is a player that athletically is incredibly gifted and would be a force in the middle of that defense. A little bit more of a three-tech defensive tackle, though. I don't really think he kind of fits what they're trying to do. I think they want a big, nasty Caden McDonald that's like 6'3", 330 pounds. But I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I think protecting Justin Herbert is imperative. I think getting this offensive line primed for hopefully a healthy season next year and a healthy Omarion Hampton and a healthy run game, I think is absolutely imperative. So give me one of the best guards in this class, and I think is well worth a first-round pick here, if you ask me. At 26, this is where one of our last trades, or our last trade of the first round here. Not too many trades in this one. I didn't want to go too crazy, but this is a pick that I think, or a trade rather, that I think makes a lot of sense. I do think a Bears fan came on here last week. I don't really love any of the selections here for the Cleveland Browns. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna trade back a little bit here, and I think the Chicago Bears are interested because there's a player on the board that I think would kind of fit exactly what Ben Johnson's trying to do with the left side of the offensive line. Ozzie Trapilo, who's been a natural right tackle since being drafted this year out of Boston College, has been starting on the left side for the last couple of weeks. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. 2 weeks ago, he played well. This past week against the Philadelphia Eagles kind of exposed that he's not really ready for the speed rushers of the NFL. I think athletically, I don't think he's there for what the Bears need on the left side of the offensive line. So we're going to make a trade here. The Bears are going to move up because, again, the Cleveland Browns do need offensive line help. So the Bears thinking like that go, oh, and I kind of like this trade a lot, to be honest with you. This is going to be 26. And, yes, sorry. Let me do this again. There we go. It's going to be 20. It's going to be 31.95 and 129 for. It's going to be this here. It's going to be so the Browns pick up an extra fourth round pick here. They move up 10 spots from 105 to 95, so they're jumping back into the third round, and then they move back slightly here. I think this is a trade that actually makes a lot of sense for both teams. And the Bears move up and they take Caleb Lomu here. I think Lomu makes a lot of sense for this offensive line. Athletically, he's fantastic, a good run blocker out in space, a really good pass blocker. And I think really that's what the Chicago Bears need. They need a good, solid, athletic pass blocker on the left side. And that's exactly what Lomu brings to the table over Ozzie Trapilo, who I think is a fine swing tackle, but I don't really think he's what they're looking for on the left side. Man, who has it better than the Dallas Cowboys? They took Sonny Styles at 16, and at 27, they're going to get one of the best pure pass rushers in the draft, and that's going to be Cassius Howell, the player who's been unbelievable for the Texas A&M Aggies this past year. Trevor Gooseby did shut down Cassius Howell, though, so that was one of the big reasons why the Texas Longhorns did beat the Aggies this past weekend, was Howell was essentially neutralized by that offensive line. So hats off to Gooseby, who could find himself in the first round as well when it's all said and done. But I think Cassius Howell makes a lot of sense. The interior of the defensive line doesn't really need an upgrade. They have Kenny Clark. They have Quinnen Williams now, who's been unreal for the Dallas Cowboys since being drafted to Dallas. Traded to Dallas. And now you're adding Cassius Howell with one side. You have Devin Ezraku on the other side. You're building a very nice, young, penetrating defensive line. So give me Cassius Howell at 27. At 28, the Seattle Seahawks, despite being a great overall defensive team, I think they could use an upgrade on the boundary here for the cornerback position. There's no interior offensive lineman that I'm really willing to take at this point. So I'm turning my attention to the corners, and I think Colton Hood is a Mike McDonald type of player. Great in zone, great in man, an extremely heady football player, good tackler, really smart, reads plays well. I think this is a player that would kind of step in and be an immediate force on the boundary for the Seattle Seahawks here. At 29, I'm going to take Brandon Cisse here out of South Carolina, a player that's new to my first round picks, but Cisse is not, I think he is the best run defending corner in the entire class. He's physical, he's big, good in zone coverage, needs a little bit of work in man, but he's also a player that's extremely athletic, extremely strong on the line of scrimmage. So he's got all the tools. He can improve in man, but he's really, really good in zone. He's a fantastic run defender as well. And I think this is a player that the Rams, who play well in the secondary, I think that they do need a clear-cut cornerback one in that secondary. And I think Cisse is a player that not only could be cornerback one for the Rams, at the end of the day, could wind up being cornerback one in this draft class overall. At 30, TJ Parker is on the board here, and I think this just makes a lot of sense for the New England Patriots. He is a player that could really learn under Mike Vrabel's tutelage. Great run defender this year, not as great as a pass rusher, kind of flipped from last year. Last year, we didn't really see too much as a run defender. We saw a lot from the pass rushing department. So we know that he can do both, and he could do both very, very well on his day. So give me TJ Parker here at number 30. At 31, the Cleveland Browns desperately need some offensive line help. They moved back. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think what Jennings Dunker brings to the Cleveland Browns offensive line that Caleb Lomu doesn't bring is that inside outside versatility and just that physical nastiness at the point of contact as well. Where Lomu is more of a finesse blocker, he's someone that's going to get to you with speed and hand placement. Jennings Dunker is a player that is going to drive you straight into the ground. He's got a red mullet. He's got a red mustache. He's just a big, he's the epitome of what you would think an Iowa offensive lineman looks like. He's big, nasty, physical, strong, coming off of back-to-back very, very good seasons for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think this is a steal at the back end of the first round for the Cleveland Browns. And then with our last pick here, I mentioned him a little bit before. I'm going to take Christian Miller. So the Denver Broncos are a team that kind of sort of confuse me because I don't really know, outside of linebacker and tight end, I don't really know another positional group outside of offensive line that could use an upgrade. And that to me is more of a long-term upgrade. So I'm thinking about the interior of the defensive line. John Franklin Myers is a free agent. He's also on the wrong side of 30 at this point. He's a player that I think can be improved upon, even though he is a fantastic player, and I miss him on the Jets dearly. I think Christian Miller makes a lot of sense. He's a disruptive athletic force that could kind of take over that position that John Franklin Myers is doing now. He penetrates the offensive line very well, a very, very good run defender. He's been one of the most consistent players in this draft class over the past 3 years for the Georgia Bulldogs, kind of like an unsung hero on that defensive line. So give me Christian Miller here at pick number 32 to end out our first round mock draft after week 13 of the NFL season. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is our first round mock draft for the 2026 NFL draft after week 13 of the NFL season. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.